today. So to start off with, I wanted to explain a little bit of the housekeeping with today's webinar. We're using GoToMeeting, which some folks may be familiar with, some folks may not. And so I wanted to start off by saying that we would love to hear your questions. And we're interested in trying to answer as many questions as we can. We do have a limited amount of time. We have 1 hour scheduled for this webinar, and we're already 4 minutes in. We will plan on answering all the questions and posting them probably to our Facebook page or the website someplace. So if we don't get a chance to answer your question, we will get you an answer. And follow up with you. So to ask a question, because there's so many people on the webinar, it would be tough to unmute folks. So if you could use there's a little question box. If the GoToMeeting panel is sort of compressed, you can use the left arrow. It's a left pointing orange arrow button, and that'll pull out the GoToMeeting panel. And then there should be a question box in there. And please feel free to type your questions in there at any time during the presentation. We'll try to pause in the middle and then have time at the end to answer questions. The other thing I wanted to talk about is who we are. And so who are we? And a little bit about where Wildfires Near Me came from on the phone. And I've put this slide together. This project's been going on for a little while now, and it started, I guess, right around a year ago as an idea. And I wanted to thank Chris Erickson, a PIO with Nemo, for coming to us with this idea to build a tool for the public and for folks within wildland fire management that would help bring information about new and emerging incidents. And so we sort of started with a problem framing of that we have a lot of tools for learning about large existing ongoing campaign fires, but we didn't really have any tools at the time for somebody to learn about the smoke that's in their backyard and what's happening with that fire and sort of what's going on and a way to get information. And so out of that, we had a few different iterations and a few different versions, and we've sort of landed on this current version, which is Wildfires Near Me. And it's somewhat based on another tool in New South Wales and in Australia called Fires Near Me. And so we added wildfires. Ours only deals with wildfires. The Fires Near Me app from Australia deals with all fires, car fires, house fires. Every fire is in one master database there. And so they have the luxury of their data all being together, but we really focused on wildfires. And so that's the intent of the app. My name's Ben Butler, and I work for the Wildland Fire Management Research Development and Application Program. And so we're a program that's associated with Rocky Mountain Research Station. And we're a blended program made up of Forest Service and Department of Interior employees. And so our focus is on tech transfer and on research development and application development. The other person that's on the phone with me and the person who deserves the most credit is Reggie Goolsby. And Reggie's the guy that built Wildfires Near Me. And so Reggie has done a phenomenal job of building the app and making it what it is today. And so it wouldn't be here without him. So it's really exciting to share that stage with him and tell you all about what we built. So as far as today's talk, I put together just a really brief roadmap, and then we're not going to spend any more time on PowerPoints. We're gonna dive right into the app. But start off and just give you an idea of what it is, and then we'll talk a little bit about setting up your account and setting up all of the little intricacies with connecting your social media accounts and things like that. And then we'll show you how to monitor places, and then ultimately how to monitor fires to keep receiving updates on individual fires. and then we'll talk about the power of sort of getting information about wildfires near you, and why that's helpful, and why we think it's helpful for you to be able to find out that information, and how you can do that easily within the application. And then towards the end, as I said earlier, we'll have time for getting some answers to questions, and then also show you where you can also provide feedback on what we've built. So let's step over now to the website. And so Wildfires Near Me is a beta prototype, and so it's not a production level application. It lives on a .com, not a .gov domain name, and so it's meant to be a test. It's meant to see if something like this is needed in the public space. And so the intention with Wildfires Near Me is to test it for a fire season. And so that's why we moved as of this morning at about 11:30 Mountain Time. We were still considering ourselves alpha. And so now we feel like we've got the right mix of functionality and features, and we're going to put a beta stamp on it. And that means it's ready for testing in our book. So Wildfires Near Me is what's known as a web app or a web application. It's not a native application for a mobile device. So you won't find it in the App Store, you won't find it in the Google Play Store. You actually have to go to a web browser to use the app. And I think that's important. We've gotten some questions from folks about how do I install the app? In a lot of ways, it's more convenient. You don't have to install an app. It runs on any browser. It'll run on anything from Google Chrome to Safari and Internet Explorer and points in between. And it should scale well on different screen sizes. There are still a few little places where it may not, and we recognize that, and it's just a hard thing to do to make a web application fit every screen imaginable. But for the most part, the testing we've done, it seems to work pretty well. So as we scroll down, sort of, we're calling this the landing page. We give you an idea of what the app does, what's included, some information about the different features and functions within the app, and then we move down. We created a YouTube channel just for Wildfires Near Me, and I think we've got one video there now, and we'll plan on maybe posting some more, just quick tips and tricks and ways to navigate the app and use the app. So you can visit the latest video or view the channel and follow the channel for updates. We also have a Facebook page and a Twitter account, and so you could follow us on Facebook or Twitter, and those pages are getting a good number of followers, and it's great to interact with folks there. And some folks have asked questions, and some folks have just expressed how they like the app. So you can follow us there as well. Either one of those works. We try to post any changes that we make to the app to both of those accounts as sort of our change log, so that's a good place to kind of keep up with what we might have changed, although not a lot will be changing now that we're at beta. And then at the bottom, just a blurb about the program that Reggie and I work for, and a link to the feedback form. And so by clicking on the feedback form, the first disclaimer we give is that we have very limited support. And so again, this is not a full-blown production level app. It's a prototype, and so with that comes some limitations. Reggie and I both have day jobs, and so unfortunately, we won't be able to just focus on Wildfires Near Me going into the future. But that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. So please submit feedback if it's a question or a comment or an idea, a suggestion on how to make the app better. We'd really like to hear from you about that, because eventually we hope to move this into a more long-term, long-supported application. And so if we find out what else we're missing, we can maybe build that in the future. And so that's a pretty good overview of the landing page. I guess there's one other thing. We also have a mailing list. And so if you're inclined to not create a Wildfires Near Me account, but you just want to kind of hear what's going on and keep up with any messages that we might send out, you can join our mailing list. And all it takes is your email and your first and last name, and and that'll add you to our mailing list. So anytime we send out information or post updates to the app, you'll get that info as well. So clicking on the Take Me to the Map button will take you into the login screen. And so Wildfires Near Me requires a login. And part of the reason for that is because of the functionality within the app. In order to give you the ability to do all the things that you can do with the app, we had to make it an account-based application. And so to make that easier, one of the things that we did was we allow you to log in with any of your social media accounts as long as they're Facebook, Twitter, or Google. So you don't have to create a password, you don't have to remember a password, and it works really slick. All you do is click sign in with Google, and then you tell it which Google account if you have more than one, like me, and then that'll jump you right into the app here. And so this is the main screen for Wildfires Near Me. This is the main map, I guess you'd call it. And so one of the things we added as of about a half hour ago is a short tour that hopefully will help give you an idea of where to do certain things within the app. And so this is really based on a simple 5-minute, how do you get up and running with Wildfires Near Me? And so hopefully it's useful. We tried to keep it as brief as possible, but we also wanted it to be really complete, I guess is the best word. So if you have a few minutes to take time to follow the tour, I would definitely encourage you to do that. We'll step through the process here today, but the tour is also very helpful. It will disappear, and so if you click end tour, it's going to disappear, and as of right now you won't be able to get it back. But we're looking to change that, and so we'll probably here in the not too distant future add a button somewhere, probably in the preferences, where you could turn on tour mode or something like that, so that you could step back through it. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and end the tour. And it says, thanks for looking at the tour. So Wildfires Near Me is really based on sort of two principles, and both of them have to deal with monitoring. And so the first principle is monitoring places. And so the first concept with Wildfires Near Me is My Places. And so you start off by monitoring a location, and that location could be your street address, it could be a city and state, any location. Basically, if you can find it in Google Maps, Wildfires Near Me can monitor it. And so you start with that location, and we'll tell Wildfires Near Me how far out to look, inside that or at that location. And then if Wildfires Near Me finds a new fire within your circle, sort of your circle of trust, if you will, then it will notify you. And so you can get notifications via email and or text message. And so we'll talk about how to set that up. But so that's the first principle is this concept of my locations. And so you have this location list that the app's always looking at. The app will monitor those places whether you're logged in or not. So it's sort of, in a way, you can set it and forget it, and then let Wildfires Near Me tell you when it's time to start paying attention again. The other concept is a concept called My Fires. Wildfires Near Me will only notify you about a new fire in your circle. From there, it's up to you to decide what to do with it. If you want to keep following that fire and you want to keep getting incident updates, then you're going to have to add that fire to your My Fires list. And so adding a fire to My Fires starts monitoring just that fire. So you may have 10 fires inside your circle, but you're only really worried about or concerned about a single fire. So you could follow that fire and start getting notifications for it. So those are the two real basic principles of Wildfires Near Me. You monitor for new starts, and then you follow fires for more information. So to do that, if you click your username in the upper right, that expands a box here that brings a profile button. And when we go into profile, this is really where you can set up all of your different settings and tell the app how to behave when you log out. And so the first panel we come to is the alert preferences. And so we need to know your first and your last name, and this may or probably will have come in from Google if you register for Wildfires Near Me just using a Google or Twitter or Facebook account. If you create an account and do not log in with social media, you'll probably have to fill those out. The next thing, you set a search radius. And so Wildfires Near Me has the ability to search as far out as 20 miles and as close in as 0 miles, really. So 0 to 5, within 10 miles, and then out to 20. And so if I check the 20 miles, it's also searching for 5 and 10. So pretty simple. And then the next thing that you can do is you can tell Wildfires Near Me what size of fire that you care about. And so if you don't want to get every single new start, maybe you live in Arizona in monsoon season and you know that you're going to get a bunch of starts every day, you might uncheck the 0 to 99, and now Wildfires Near Me will only notify you about a new start that hits 100 acres. So the fire might go on for a while and you never get notified until that fire hits 100 acres, then you're going to get a notification. So you have some sort of granularity in how you can choose your messages or the different size messages that you want to get notified about. So once you make any changes, you click the update and it tells you that you've been updated. So the next panel is the Authentication Settings, and this is where you could choose, you could edit your username or you could change your password, that kind of thing. If you log in with social media, you don't really have to worry about this unless for some reason you'd want to switch email addresses or something. The next panel is the social networks, and so one of the neat things with Wildfires Near Me is that we allow you to connect your social media accounts. So you can connect Facebook and Twitter and maybe in the future more, but for right now in a prototype, we thought these were the two most popular. So what this does is this gives you the ability to post to those accounts from within Wildfires Near Me. So you don't have to copy something from Wildfires Near Me and then go over to Facebook and post it on Facebook. We give you the ability with the functionality in Wildfires Near Me to post to those accounts without even leaving the app. So connecting them is pretty easy. You just you press the connect button, and then that'll take you, oh, something happened. I think it just authenticated me. Oh, that's probably because I had done it in the past a bunch. So what will happen is you'll press connect and a screen will come up and it will be a Twitter page, and Twitter or Facebook or Google will be asking you to give permission to Wildfires Near Me. And so by authorizing that connection, Wildfires Near Me gets a little bit of information from your account, mostly just your name and very general information, no passwords, no sensitive material. It does not read posts on your wall or anything like that. And then once you authorize that, the page will tell you what Wildfires Near Me is requesting access to. Once you authorize that, then the account connects. And so now, and we'll show you a little bit later, but now you'll be able to post from within Wildfires Near Me. So just a few words on connecting social media accounts and things like that. Wildfires Near Me will never post on your behalf unless you initiate it. So Wildfires Near Me does not automatically start posting to your Facebook account, nor do we start pulling posts from your Facebook account or anything like that. We never store any sensitive information. We never use any of your information in any way. It's purely just for a convenience thing. And I think it's becoming more common to see things like this where you connect accounts like that, and so folks are probably starting to get familiar with it. But we will not use your information in any harmful or potentially questionable way at all. It's merely just to make that connection for convenience. So you can check that out if you're so inclined. If not, it's okay. You can still use the functionality within Wildfires Near Me. You'll be you can still use the tweet button, and you can still use the post to Facebook stuff. You'll just have to jump out of Wildfires Near Me temporarily to do that, and then jump back in. So that's the social networks. The next two are dealing with your notifications. And so the first notification type is email. And so as I said earlier, Wildfires Near Me will notify you about new starts within your circle. And so you can choose with email, you can choose of these 6 different preferences. And so we have the ability, or we thought we had the ability to give you more options with email than we do with text, because we know that text messages are a little bit more invasive. And so email, we thought we'd give users more ability to fine tune when they get messages. So you can choose real time, hourly, twice a day, or daily. Or you can say, just send me system messages. So those are, if you're an account holder right now, those are the whimsical emails you've been getting from me the past couple weeks. So if you want to just get those, then you can just stay signed up for those. Or you can choose one of the 4 preferences above that are, daily on down to real time. I will say, for folks who aren't too familiar with the sort of quantity of fires we get, throughout the U.S., some areas are real hot spots. And so what we are trying to do is balance sort of being annoying against being helpful. And so I would use real time with caution, and maybe try it out and see how you like it. You can always back it off. But for some places, real time might be a bit overwhelming at first. So something to think about. You can also always tighten in your circle. And so if you start out at 20 miles and you're looking for real-time notifications, that might be a bit much. So you could maybe back it down to 5 miles and still keep real time. So you can change that with email. And then if we step down to text notifications, we need 2 pieces of information to make our text notifications work. We need your cell phone number, and we need your cell phone provider. The reason we need your cell phone provider is because we actually send you text messages via email. And so these text messages will come to you from wildfiresnearme@gmail.com. And so it might seem a little different, but actually every cell phone provider has an email address that includes your phone number. So your phone number followed by @vzw.com or something like that is actually a way that you can send text messages via email. So if you need to text your wife that you're running late and you only have your laptop sitting by you, you can give that a try. So the other thing that we decided with Wildfires Near Me is that giving you a lot of options for the timing of text messages can be tricky, because we didn't want to, again, inundate you. And so for now, the only option we have is real time. And part of the reason for that is because Wildfires Near Me likes to try to group notifications if we can. And we didn't want to exceed the 140 or 160 character limit for most or a lot of text messages. Most providers still have that limit. We don't see it often because we're using iMessage or something like that, but it still exists. And so we're tipping our hat to our friendly flip phone users here and keeping our messages short. The text messages will be very brief. They'll basically give you some very general info about the incident or the fire in question, and then it'll link you to more information. So you can use that little hyperlink and jump into Wildfires Near Me, and you'll have the alerts panel open, and you can go from there and explore further. So that's the preferences, and that's really sort of the guts of Wildfires Near Me, helping you get things set up so that you can make sure you get alerts and you get the notifications, and you find out when a fire really is near you. So if you don't do these things, you're not going to get notifications. So I think that's kind of the critical piece of all of this. First step, new user, check out the profile, settings and make sure you've got your notification preferences set up. Okay. Wes, do we have any questions?
Questions on the list right now.
Okay. Quiet group. Talking to myself. Okay. Well, then I guess we'll carry forward. And please, if you do have questions, feel free to type them in, and we'd be happy to answer. So moving out of the, let me show you how I did that, I guess. So moving out of the profile settings back to the map, you can click the home button, and that'll step you back into the main map. And so after you've got all of your notification preferences and all of your profiles set up, the next thing to do is to start monitoring places, and add places to your My Locations list. So if you go to My Places, Wildfires Near Me is going to try to use your GPS and map you. On the desktop, it's been acting funny lately, and so it's been parking everybody in Mitchell County, wherever this is, North Dakota, somewhere, the dead middle of the country. And so what I have noticed is if you're using an iPhone, the GPS seems to work great. So it's something that we're aware about, and we're working on it, and we should have a fix for that. I'm hoping sometime pretty soon. But what Wildfires Near Me will do, once you press My Places, first thing it'll do is try to figure out where you're at. And so if it successfully figures out where you're at, that's cool. If not, hopefully we'll fix it soon. So to add a location to your My Locations list, there's two tabs here. There's My Fires and My Locations. So we want to use My Locations. So to add a place, I'm going to click the Add button, and then up here it says Search for a Place. And so you can search, as I said, for anything. I'm going to find my grandma's house. And there's 437 Waffle Avenue. Okay, so now that I've found it, I chose it from the list, and I just pressed the black plus button, and now that adds it. So now Wildfires Near Me is monitoring my grandma's house, and it's monitoring, let's look, it's monitoring 20 miles from my grandma's house. So a circle 20 miles in radius around Nana's house is getting monitored, and then any size fire will trigger a notification to my email and my text. Oh, I'm sorry. Now it will trigger to both my email and text inbox. So if a new start comes, and it's way over here in Pennsylvania, in St. Mary's, I don't think there's likely to be a fire there, but if there is a fire in that circle, then Wildfires Near Me will ping me via email and text, and I'll be able to decide what I want to do from there. So that's how you add locations to your My Locations list, and any location you see in this list will be getting monitored. So as of right now, you can add as many locations as you want. We did not put a cap on this. We heard some cool feedback from somebody who's inside fire management, and they've blanketed all their forests and blanketed all the areas that they're responsible for with circles in Wildfires Near Me, so that they can get text and email notifications when a new start happens. So it's pretty cool. You can figure out something like that if you get tricky and you want to say, oh, string two 20-mile radius circles together to get coverage of a larger area. You could do something like that. To remove locations, if you click the Edit button, you'll get a box that comes up and shows you which places you have, and you could click Boise, and it says you're about to delete Boise, Idaho. I say okay, and now I'm just monitoring 437 Waffle Avenue. And then you can exit and add more, or delete more, whatever it is you want to do. Okay. So the next step is to start monitoring fires. And so monitoring fires can happen in one of two ways. The first way is if you're just cruising around the map. Let's find an actual, and we find this fire. So if you click on the fire point, it brings up the fire's information panel. And this tells you the fire's name at the top, and then it gives you general information. And then as you scroll on down, you can get more information and some other things. So I guess the first question is, where does this data come from? And so these data actually come from Irwin. And so Irwin is a database that houses official fire information that comes direct from dispatch. And so Irwin is sort of a hub for all fire reporting systems. And so right now Irwin is connected to the 209, and Irwin's connected to CAD dispatch centers, and Irwin's connected to WFDIS, and Irwin's connected to all of these reporting systems. And so all of the data come into Irwin as a hub. And so we pull from Irwin and we pare down the information to things that we feel are pertinent. And you can see it here. So you can see the location, you can see the fire's size, you can see the start date, the cause, the geographic area or the GAC, the complexity and when it was created. And then if you expand incident info, there's more information, and most of these come from the 209 report that's done for fires. Basically, I guess, the information that drives the situation report and a number of other things. But so you can get a good bit of info about an individual fire just by clicking the point on the map. Back to our earlier point, though, what we were looking to do is follow a fire or add it to my fires list. So after you've clicked that point on the map and you get the info panel, you can simply click Add to My Fires. And that will say, you're now monitoring this fire. Thank you. And that changes the button now to Remove from My Fires, and it turns it red. So if at any time you want to stop following a fire, you just say Remove from My Fires, and it says you're no longer monitoring that fire. So pretty easy concept. But that's one way that you can start monitoring a fire. So again, Wildfires Near Me will tell you about that new start. Then it's up to you to decide, do I want to start following that fire? Okay, yeah, I'll add it to my fires. And then you'll start getting incident updates. So that's the first way to start monitoring a fire. The second way is after you get a notification. And so in the email that we send, there'll be a link that says start following this fire to get more info or something to the effect of start monitoring this fire. So you can click that link, and then what that does from the email is it takes you right to this info panel and you click the button. The other thing that you can do is this button, the bell icon, is a sort of a shortcut button to your notifications. But here's an alert that I got a little while back that says the false alarm fire, which is kind of ironic, is within 15.18 miles of, and then it cuts off because this is the shortcut menu. But it says add to your My Fires to monitor fire updates. So if I click that, same thing happens, info panel, now I'm following it. So it's all really driven by that Add to My Fires button, no matter really where you hit it from. But that's loosely the process. So if I go back into the My Places panel and I go over to My Fires, here I see all the fires that I'm monitoring. And there again I see that false alarm that I just added. So now we're monitoring that fire. If things change for that fire, I will get an update. Okay. So that's the My Fires. I thought I heard a question ding in. Do we have a quick question, Wes? Is
We
there?
have two questions.
I see. The first question that I see is there any chance to expand the search area further than 20 miles? I think there is, Phyllis. I think we've talked about it a little bit internally. Um, I think our initial fear was getting too big and crossing that line again between between just annoying people and informing people. Um, I think we maybe could add a bigger box. We've talked about maybe finding a way to not make it be so default, where it's real easy to just say 100 miles. Um, for some areas, the notifications get pretty dense, and so it can be tricky if you just, if you look at the map, when Oklahoma was really kicking off and Kansas got really busy, the map was really, really full. And we were doing some testing and monitoring a bunch of places across Kansas and Oklahoma. Um, and it got busy. There was quite a bit coming in. um, but yeah, I think we'll talk more about that and let you know. The next one, if you don't have a specific address, how can you add that place? That's a good one, Greg. So what I'd recommend for that is, and I know it might be hard, depending on the place. Um, if I just look at the map of Idaho here, there's not a lot between Featherville and Idaho City, really to map. And so I would say for now, try to use the closest place that you can find. Um, I have not tried in the Google search to search for something like Trinity Mountain, but I'd be curious to see. Mm, yeah, I don't know that that's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna look for like geographic names. Um, yeah, I think for now the best we could probably do would be to recommend that you try to find a place that's close to you, a town or a village or something like that. Potentially, if we expand that, give an expanded search radius, that may help as well. Um, so that you could put in, say, Atlanta, Idaho, and have a 50-mile buffer. That might help with some of that. But for now, you have to put the closest town. The next question, quick, is for clarification: is the data being pulled into Irwin from Dispatch Center Wildcat data? Yeah, so Irwin's connected to the Wildcat system, and so dispatch centers on Wildcat 6 or greater are I guess have the option to connect to Irwin. Some aren't connected to Irwin, um, but yes, it's coming directly from the Wildcat system. And so we're working with the folks that manage Irwin to try to get a idea of status coverage. And so by that I mean, can we get an idea of places that are, either dispatch zones or geographic areas, or some delineation of area that are actually reporting into Irwin. Right now, there's not a great picture of, for example, uh, does the Modoc National Forest push data into Irwin? I can't answer that right now. So we're working on that, and hopefully sometime in the future here we'll have a somewhat of a coverage map, or at least an idea, because we recognize that someone may register for Wildfires Near Me and start monitoring a place in a state or in an area that isn't covered by Irwin, and so that's problematic. So we'd like to be able to let users know that, if you, and I don't know if Nebraska's in Irwin or not, but if you created a point in Nebraska, we'd like for the app to be able to notify you and say, Yeah, sorry, I don't think we're not gonna have any notifications for Nebraska right now. Please check back later or something. Okay, I'm gonna jump back into the demo here quickly, and I see a bunch of questions, and we'll try to get to more of them in a minute or two. Um, I think we covered the core functionality of the app between My Fires and My Locations. That's really the essence of Wildfires Near Me. Some of the other things that we added in, the map layers, we kept the map layers really pretty simple, and we did not add a lot of them. The reason for that is we don't really. I mean, the power of Wildfires Near Me is in its ability to notify you when there may be trouble in your area. Uh, the map's a nice addition, and the map's a great way to look at data, and we recognize that. But we wanted to keep it clean, so at the top is where you can change what types of fires you see. And so on the right is the fire status list. And so new, emerging, contained, controlled, and active. And if you click this question mark icon, that'll jump you to just a quick and dirty help document that we put together that explains each of the data layers in the map layers panel. It also includes our rule set for fire status. And so this is our definition of new versus emerging versus active. So you can check that out and get more info on what's the difference between a emerging fire and an active fire. On the left is the fire size. And so these points don't actually show on the map. These black circles are purely meant to indicate size. And so basically a new start that's 100,000 acres will be significantly larger, or the point will be significantly larger than a 10-acre new start. So this is merely meant to indicate size. Again, you won't ever see a black dot on the map. But it's handy because you can turn off 0 to 99, and you could say, show me all the active fires that are greater than 100 acres, 100 acres or greater, and that'll adjust your map. So you have some ability to, I guess you could call it, query the data or filter the data anyway. At the bottom are just 3 additional layers that we added, and those 3 layers are Twitter Fire, GeoMac, and InciWeb. So Twitter Fire is another sort of beta prototype project that our program has been working on. And Twitter Fire mines data from Twitter. And so we apply sort of a custom search algorithm to the Twitter database. So the large Twitter database, we're searching for tweets about wildfires. And we're searching for tweets about wildfires that we can successfully map. And so we use geotags, and we also look at the text and try to figure out where they're talking about. And so it's kind of a neat experimental project, and you can see the points on the map are all these blue Twitter icons. And so you can check them out and see what the actual tweets were. And it's kind of a fun little thing, to explore. It's really highly filtered, and so we think that's some of the power of it. Some of the other tools that are out there that pull in Twitter data don't really scrub the data as much, and so I think that's one of the neat things about Twitter Fire. It's not always accurate, and I will give that disclaimer from the beginning. The algorithm doesn't always get it right, and sometimes it puts the tweets in the wrong place, and sometimes it talks about fires that are already out. But it's a pretty neat thing to explore. A neat thing to try. Wildfires Near Me and Twitter Fire are connected in a way, and so if you send a tweet from Wildfires Near Me using the hashtag that we give you, it should show back up on the map in about 15-ish minutes. Takes a little while to go through the internets and come back onto the map, but you should see that come back onto the map, and so it might be a fun little way to just have a little micro social community around a fire where you can see tweets popping up on the map. Geomac fire perimeters, I think a lot of folks know Geomac, and it's a great source for fire perimeters for larger ongoing fires. So even, we realize the focus of Wildfires Near Me is really about new and emerging fires. But that doesn't mean it's not also decent at giving you updates on existing large fires. So if you'd like to check out perimeters, yesterday there was one on the map, but I don't see one on the map today. So those will come as folks add perimeters to large fires. And then, of course, InciWeb. InciWeb's just a great resource for getting really good reports about fires. And again, these are about sort of ongoing fires. And so if you click an InciWeb point, we bring up this nice little panel that gives you just the top summary from InciWeb. And then you can jump into that fire right on the InciWeb website by clicking the link. And you don't have to navigate from the top. You'll just step right into the right place. So that's the map layers. I have talked about tweeting and posting to Facebook from within Wildfires Near Me, and so let's take a quick look at that. So if you have a fire information panel open, so this fire is out because it's red. If you click a fire, one neat thing that we did is we turn that fire into a flame icon on the map. And so where that becomes handy is if you're using the alerts panel. The alerts panel is a summary of all the alerts that you get. And so if you don't sign up for email and you don't sign up for text, you should still get your notifications here. And so you can click on these alerts or these notifications, and that'll jump you to that fire. The fire's centered in the map, and we put the flame on the map to show you exactly where it's at. So from that information panel, at the very top, you can tweet about the false alarm fire. So if I click the tweet button, again, this is the power of having your Twitter account connected. I don't have to leave Wildfires Near Me. I'm not taken to Twitter. It comes right up with the start of a tweet already composed. And from here, you can decide what you want to keep, I guess. We put a few things in there. And we might have to clean that up a bit. But the most important piece is this hashtag. So every fire that comes into Wildfires Near Me gets a hashtag. It gets the hashtags created by the fire's name followed by the word fire. So every fire gets it, and what's neat about it is if I tweet this out, what will happen in the background, Wildfires Near Me should pick this up. Or I'm sorry, Twitter Fire should pick this up. And then as I said, in about 15 minutes or so, we should see that tweet showing back up on the map. And it should show up, if everything works right, it should show up back right around this false alarm fire. So pretty neat integration. You don't have to use our hashtag if you don't want to. Don't feel like you need to. You can put whatever it is that you want in the tweet and go from there. So that's the way you tweet. The other thing that we added at the bottom is a comments box. And so the comments box works in two ways. The first way is you can comment and have that comment just stay within Wildfires Near Me. So if I say I like this app and now I click post, it will just post to Wildfires Near Me. And that stays in Wildfires Near Me, and anybody that comes to check out the false alarm fire can see my comment. If I type something in and I check the also post to Facebook box, then it's going to post to Wildfires Near Me, and it's going to post to my Facebook account because I've got the Facebook connection built in the profile, and so it'll post both places. So it's a pretty neat way, and you can also choose if you have more than one Facebook. I've managed the Wildfires Near Me Facebook page, so I could post as Wildfires Near Me. So it's a pretty quick and easy way to just tell someone about a fire, and then they can go check it out. Um, so that's kind of in a nutshell the sort of the social media integrations. We're not pulling in any information from Facebook. You merely have the ability to post to Facebook within Wildfires Near Me. Okay. I talked a bit about the alerts panel, but just again, this is just that summary of your alerts. If they're blue, you have not read them yet. So you can hit that here. You can also hit this shortcut notification panel at the top. The flag at the top tells you the places that you're monitoring. And so you can quickly jump to a place. That's how I like to use this. It's just a quick, if I want to just quick walk through and check, what's the Anderson Creek fire doing? And you just jump to it that way. There's two other tabs that we have. One is a situation report, and this is just a very rough first swing at putting together just some sort of a situation report. We link to the full IMSR on the NIFC website, and so you can jump right to the IMSR from Wildfires Near Me by just clicking the View Full Sit Report button. And then the rest is just kind of a summary of all the new fires, the new emerging fires, etc., and so forth. So it doesn't change with the map or anything, but just a real good, real quick and dirty report. The last tab is called Wildfires Near Me. And so this is a tab that really works best when GPS is working. So again, give it a try on your mobile device or your iPhone, iPad, Android, and if you get it to find you, it's really pretty slick. Again, we'll be working on fixing that, but this gives you just a quick summary of wherever you're at, fires that are near you. So the idea was really quick, if you travel somewhere, you land, you hit the ground, you pull this up, and here you got a quick summary. Here's all the fires going on. We also just added in your My Fires list so you can see which fires you're monitoring. And then it also pulls in the fire weather zone forecast. And so you can, wherever you're at on the map, again, if it maps you, then you can go there. You can also sort of jump to your places this way. So if you click at the top, and if you have a bunch of places that you're monitoring, you can jump through them this way, and actually navigate that way as well. And then that'll change the fires near me and everything else. Okay, I think that's the most rundown. I think that's all of the rundown of all the features. There's two more things I wanted to cover, and one was the feedback button, and just show you where that's at, and it's right here at the top. If your screen is small and you're on a mobile device, we put the feedback button here in the profile drop down. So again, Wildfires Near Me will scale with your screen size, so look for it here if you're on your phone. And then we have the preparedness level. This tells you the national preparedness level, and you can click the link and it'll take you to gac.nifc.gov, where you can look at the individual geographic areas, the different splits throughout the country, and see which what PL each area is in. Incidentally, you can also see that PL stuff in the incidents information panel. Here I am way over in Pennsylvania. If you click on the point, it tells you the preparedness level for that geographic or GAC. I think that's all I had for a demo. I've left 2 minutes for more questions. So I'll just jump back to those right now. Can we do a geographic area, a reservation, or a state? unfortunately, right now there's no way to do a sort of a polygon, to monitor a polygon. Um, you know, I think I mentioned earlier, someone was getting creative by choosing several places and trying to get overlap. So if you have, you know, actual named places that are close enough together, you could sort of overlap them. Um, I think that's one of my thoughts as Wildfires Near Me eventually, hopefully, moves from a beta app to a production app, would be to give users more functionality in terms of how they can define an area. So if you could draw a box or draw a shape on a map or something and let that be the area that it monitors, I think it'd be pretty cool. But for now, we had to, you know, sort of go with what we could support and realistically build in a beta. Is there a way to change the settings by location? So I assume you mean your notification settings and being able to say that for my Pennsylvania location, only tell me about 100,000 acre fires, and for my Boise location, only tell me about 10-acre fires. Unfortunately, right now there's no way to change by location, um, and that again is one of those one of those things that I would look for as the app matures and moves out of beta. Um, I think it'd be neat to do. Uh, we had talked about also separating out text messages and email messages so that you could decide to get text messages about fires that were 0 to 99 acres and email messages about fires that were 100 acres and greater. So, you know, that was one of those things, just with the amount of time we had for development, we just couldn't fit in. So, is there a key for the colored circles and squares on the map? So um, the key is actually, we put that in this help topic. So if you click the question mark, um, I wrote up a bunch of stuff that kind of explains it. And the key is really right here. It's what we call the rule set. Um, so this is what determines if a fire is new. So basically, an emerging fire. So every fire that comes into Wildfires Near Me is a new start. And then if within 48 hours, if something changes, so if it comes in and then it immediately changes in size, then it will move to emerging. And then after 48 hours, if it sits and nothing changes, then it becomes just active. So the idea being that if a fire keeps growing, it will stay in emerging. If a fire sort of stops growing, then it just kind of goes to active. Okay. Close this. What's the definition of new and emerging? I think that covered that. To clarify, is there a way to change the alert settings by location and or fire, i.e. to pick one to get alerts for? Yeah, so that's the same question about, yeah, there's basically, you can't have, in Wildfires Near Me right now, you can't choose different notifications for different fires or locations. If you to pick one to get alerts for, but email updates for everything else. Yeah, email and text messages are together, and so basically it's all or nothing with that. So I guess what I mean to say is these two boxes, the alert search radius and the fire size classes, these two boxes drive both the email and text message notifications. So you can't have any sort of granularity in the way that you choose what to get text messages about versus what to get email messages about. The next question is, let's say I choose to monitor fire size 0 to 99 acres. What if a fire is first reported larger than that? Will I not get an alert? So if you only have 0 to 99 checked, and I leave my settings like that, you are correct. If a fire comes into Wildfires Near Me at 100 acres, you will not get a notification. You will only get a notification for a fire 99 acres and smaller. Okay? Regardless of if it's a new start or not. Is there a potential for my locations to use that long? I think there may be, and I don't know. I've not tried. Reggie, do you know if you can put lat long coordinates in the Google search box?
Not currently. If there's something we want to add, then we can, but the current configuration is not set up for that long.
Okay. I think it's something we can look at. And I think we've got one more, time for one more question, and then I think we'll give everybody the rest of the day. Are all your tweets from Threat News Explorer, or is the scope of posts in a setting? So all the tweets that we bring into Wildfires Near Me come from Threat News Explorer. That's correct. So we don't pull in any other. There's no other method of pulling in Twitter data to Wildfires Near Me. So if you're familiar with Threat News Explorer and with the app that we're building there, anything you see in Threat News Explorer will come into Wildfires Near Me. So we don't currently have any other integrations built with Twitter. Okay. I think that's all we've got time for. There are a number of other questions on the board right now. I will get answers to you all. I think it's great that so many people turned up and turned out and are using Wildfires Near Me. The plan for now is to test it, so please do use it. Let us know your feedback. Let us know your questions, and we'll sort of take it from there. Wildfires Near Me should be up and running for the rest of fire season, so share it with your friends and family, and let us know what you think. Thanks for calling in today and for listening and for learning about Wildfires Near Me. We hope hope it works well for you and hope that you enjoy what it brings to the table. I think it's a pretty exciting little tool, and we were glad to have the opportunity to work on it and to continue to support it. So unless there's anything from you, Reggie or Wes or Chris, I think we're going to sign off for the day.
I have nothing. Thanks everyone for coming out. It's been a blast. Been a
Yeah.
fun project.
Okay. Well, thanks much. We'll talk to you soon.